right. So moving on to my next 5 in my top 100. I'm telling you what, guys, shit is getting hot here in Pennsylvania. I know it's supposed to rain tomorrow, but I think it's like the high of 80 or some shit this weekend, which is hot. It might not be hot for you like Southerners, but like for us Northerners, especially in the East Coast, it's fucking hot. All right. Anyway, so yeah, getting to the next 5 of my top 100 films of all time. My top 100 films. So before I talk about this, I like to give a couple of disclaimers before I get into this. All these movies that I go into on my top 100 list, they all have the movie magic. They all have Mikey's movie magic. I love literally all 100 of them. So, yeah, if you're worrying about, if they don't have the movie magic, they do. And I'm not going to go into an in-depth review like I would usually do on this podcast whenever I review a film. I just talk about a couple things that I really like, what makes it be in my top 100 and whether it might rise and fall in the future, because pretty much from 100 to 50, they kind of can be a little bit flexible depending on how they age to me through the years, because some of them have changed through the years. I made this list I think 5 years ago, and so it's changed a lot. But also, this kind of goes without saying, this is just my opinion. These are my top 100 favorite films. Doesn't mean they're the top 100 best films of all time. They're just my top 100 favorites. So with that, let's just get into it. This is number 65 through 61. So starting right off, not really leading off, it's number 65. I'm looking at the tomato meter score, and this kind of fitting that has a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. I did not plan that. That's really creepy and weird. But we have Home Alone, the very first Home Alone film. One of the I think the second Christmas film on here. It's not the best Christmas movie. We'll get to the best Christmas movie ever made of all time a little bit higher on this list, but this is a close second. Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin as a young kid. It's one of those more nostalgic films for me. I think this is probably the very first Christmas movie I have ever seen. This one and The Christmas Story. But Home Alone is like the greatest. It's one of the, I don't know. It's such a unique film, like for, I guess, clearly when it came out, but it still is. It's just, I watched it on repeat as a kid. Even when it wasn't Christmas, I watched this one. And I still watch it today. Every Christmas, I have to watch the first Home Alone. And I watched the second one as well. I think the second one's pretty funny, but I think the first one is clearly the best one. Get on your knees and tell me you love me. Oh my gosh. Home Alone, man, is just the greatest thing. Look what you did, you little jerk. Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof. Will this one rise or fall, though? I don't know. I think it's pretty good to stay at 65, especially since it has a 65% tomato meter score. That's an 80% audience score, which I think is kind of where it needs to be. Are you really gonna critique Home Alone? Really, guys? Are you gonna give an in-depth analysis of how Home Alone was made? Get the fuck out of here, guys. It's great. Home Alone is great. It deserves 100%. Fuck you. All right, moving on. I got a little too angry about that. Okay, moving on. Okay, well, I guess Rotten Tomatoes server is down, so fuck me, I guess. Number 64, we have Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So, yeah. A lot of people don't like this one, of the Indiana Jones films, but I don't know, man. I actually watched this was the first Indiana Jones film I actually watched as a kid, and it was my favorite, pretty much strictly for that reason. Obviously now it's not anymore. I would say it would probably be Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't know why. I just had a fucking brain fart. I was thinking of The Last Crusade, but that might be the next one. But Raiders of the Lost Ark is my favorite. But this one it's not bad. Like, people say this one's kind of bad. I mean, granted, yeah, the girl in it is fucking awful, and Short Round is kind of racist, but I kind of love him. Dr. Jones! Jesus Christ, it's so bad. But it's so hilarious, and I love it. I mean, you might not, and rightfully so. I mean, I get it. You know, it is kind of racist, and some of this movie kind of sucks, especially dealing with, you know, Indiana Jones' romantic interest, quote unquote. But yeah, she sucks. But everything else about this film is hilarious and great and just a fun time. It's still Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford's still there. It's also probably the darkest one. It's pretty fucking violent. You know, a guy rips a dude's heart out. How do you not love that? I mean, come on, guys. Oh man, so great. I love Temple of Doom. I think it's very different from the other two, and I think that's another reason why I kind of like this one a lot. But yeah, with that, moving on to the next number 63, we have the third in the Indiana Jones trilogy, because there's only 3 Indiana Jones films. There's no more, none other exist, right? That's right. Nothing else. I think there was another film that was sort of like an Indiana Jones film, dealing with some aliens and some crystal skull. But I don't believe that was an Indiana Jones film. That's not part of the series or the franchise. It's just 3 of them, and The Last Crusade is the last one in the trilogy. And yeah, I like this one more than Temple of Doom, mainly just because Sean Connery's in it. Sean Connery's the shit, even though it's kind of, you know, it's not really working on the same. It's not like rehashing Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, you're just still dealing with Nazis again. I think that's pretty much where the comparisons end. But I mean, Sean Connery adds such a great element to this one, and just his chemistry with Harrison Ford is just electric. The Last Crusade is the shit. I think Last Crusade has a lot bigger of a chance to rise than Temple of Doom does. I think Temple of Doom will stay in my top 100, but I think it might lower. It might have a higher number in my list over time. I think Temple of Doom, since I've gotten older, have liked it less and less as I get older, but The Last Crusade I like more and more as I get older, so they kind of are very different in that way. But both I still like, and I think Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade definitely has a chance to rise in my list. But with another action-adventure film, another sort of coming-of-age, another old classic, number 62, we got The Goonies. Baby, some of the best adventure you will ever see. Goonies, Sean Astin's probably his best performance ever as Mikey Walsh as the leader of the Goonies. Josh Brolin's in it as well. The fucking criminals who are in there, they're great, and they're also very creepy and scary. Oh damn! I'm looking at the picture of Chunk, Jeff Cohen, and he's like kind of like, he looks pretty good. I'm like, oh damn. He ain't Chunk no more, boy. Like, he's fucking, like, fit. Damn. Okay. Yeah, Corey Feldman's in there as well. Just a lot of great... It's just a great coming-of-age story, and it's just a classic adventure film. I mean, come on, guys. Like, you're looking for treasure. Come on now. I haven't seen Goonies in a long time. I need to rewatch The Goonies. Probably if I rewatch it, it's probably going to rise. Certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, if that's anything, if you want to know. I think The Goonies definitely has a chance to rise for me. But yeah, so let's move on to our final film. How are we on time? A little bit here. Okay, 42 minutes, we're good. But yeah, so number 61, our final film that we're going to be talking about in my top 100 today. Number 61, we have Warrior. I think this one you probably have a lot less of a chance of knowing Warrior. Warrior is it's a MMA fighting movie, and it's based off of it's not really based off of anything, but it's these 2 brothers. One of them is a school teacher, another one is he was I think in the Marines or something. He was in the armed forces. I'm pretty sure he was a Marine, and they both used to wrestle competitively as kids and as teenagers, and I think the one of them used to be in the UFC. and they both sort of train for this Sparta MMA tournament, and they both get in, and eventually they actually have to they have to fight each other, and it's just a really emotionally resonant film with me. I mean, if you watch this film and you don't cry at the end, you're heartless. This is such an emotional film, based off of a broken family, two brothers who have a broken relationship, who haven't seen each other in years, and they just they work through that, and they work through it, and one of the ways they work through it is by fighting each other in a cage using mixed martial arts. And the fights in this film are really well done, and the acting, both Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton are the two brothers. Also, Nick Nolte's in it as their father. He's fucking phenomenal. But yeah, Tom Hardy is in that pre-Bane phase, so he looks fucking scary. And Joel Edgerton is just a really likable dude. And yeah, it's a really great film, directed by Gavin O'Connor. He's a talented filmmaker. I like him a lot. I've been following his career. I think he just came out with that one film. I forget what the title of it is called, but it stars Ben Affleck, and he's like a high school basketball coach. So yeah, that I heard that was actually pretty good. I never got a chance to watch it. Maybe I'll rent it and watch and get back to you guys. But he also directed that film called The Accountant, which is also starring Ben Affleck, and that film is really great. But I think Warrior is hands down his best one, and you won't regret watching it. It's a phenomenal film. Also some scenes are filmed in my area, which is also kind of cool. So you get a little bit bonus points for that. Will Warrior rise, though? It might, but I think there's a lot of really good movies ahead of it, so we'll see. It doesn't have that classic factor that The Goonies and Indiana Jones has for me, and that nostalgia behind it, but it has that emotional, resonant undertone to it, which is, always a good thing. So, yeah, that was my next 5 of my top 100, guys. Hello, thanks for watching that clip of my episode of Nerd Out Sanctuary. I appreciate you watching. If you don't know, this is a video podcast about, movies, TV, video games, other types of entertainment, comic books, novels, maybe occasionally. I don't know, I don't really read that much, but when I do, I want to talk about it. So yeah, just know that there's a lot more of these, and I appreciate you if you give me a like and subscribe and watch more. If you're just if you're watching here on YouTube, know that this is also a podcast, an audio podcast. I'm on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play, so you can download my podcast episodes, listen to them while you're driving in the car, taking a shit, making dinner, doing your laundry, or whatever, when you're at work, when you're supposed to be working, but you're just kind of mindless, doing some mindless tasks while listening to my podcast. It's the shit. Hopefully you guys, get good recommendations out of me, and hope you guys keep enjoying my show. So yeah, thanks. And bye.